What if your next performance review, or the next big strategic decision for your company, didn't come from a person at all? It sounds like something out of a movie, but today we're going to dive into a new reality. What happens when your boss is an algorithm?
And if you think this is all just some futuristic what if, think again. According to this research, it's been happening for a decade. The age of the AI manager isn't on the horizon, it's already here.
And we're not talking about some glorified task manager either. Look at these examples. We're talking about AI in the actual boardroom. A company in Poland has a humanoid robot CEO named Mika. A venture capital firm in Hong Kong has an AI called Vital, literally sitting on its board of directors. These things are making and influencing huge corporate decisions as we speak.
But this whole new reality creates a massive fundamental problem. You can think of it as our laws getting lost in translation. It's this deep dilemma that comes from the simple fact that humans and machines, well, we just don't think the same way.
This really breaks down the core conflict perfectly. Human decisions are what you'd call social constructs. We operate in shades of gray with nuance, context, and the spirit of the law. An AI, on the other hand, runs on technical constructs. It's all ones and zeros, black and white, and unambiguous instructions. It follows the letter of the law, because frankly, that's the only thing it can understand. They're speaking two completely different languages.
So here's the kicker. Every single time we try to translate one of our vague human rules into precise machine code, something gets lost. Or even worse, something we never intended gets added in. The paper calls it a compromise. And let me tell you, it's a compromise with some pretty huge consequences.
So how in the world do we fix this translation problem? Well, the research proposes a really powerful solution. We need to build a whole new kind of dictionary, one made specifically for AI.
This diagram comes straight from the original paper, and it shows the model for how to build one of these autonomous AI managers. Now, I know it looks a little complex, but I want you to just focus your eyes on that one key component, right there in the center. It's the absolute key to making this whole thing work.
That piece in the middle is what the paper calls an algorithmic dictionary. Its entire job is to be the official translator. It takes fuzzy social ideas like fairness or transparency and defines them with precise mathematical instructions that an AI can follow without any confusion. It's the official rulebook that the machine has to play by.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but let's make it real. Let's take a look at a case study on one of the most important and most difficult words we have, fairness.
I mean, really think about it. When you tell a machine to be fair, what are you actually asking it to do? It doesn't have our intuition, it doesn't have our shared culture, all it has is math.
And this is where things get wild. In the world of machine learning, there isn't just one definition of fairness. There are over 20 of them. That's right, more than 20 different mathematical ways to define fairness, and each one leads to a completely different result.
Let's just look at a few. You could define fairness as statistical parity, which basically tries to make hiring outcomes mirror the general population. Or you could choose equal opportunity, which focuses on making sure that for all the qualified candidates, the algorithm is equally good at finding them, no matter what group they belong to. Now, here's the crucial part. These definitions are often mutually exclusive. If you try to optimize for one, you might actually hurt the other. So choosing a definition isn't just some small technical detail. It's a huge policy decision with real-world trade-offs.
So what happens if we don't choose a definition? What if we just throw a ton of historical data at an AI and say, go learn? Well, the result is exactly what you'd expect. The AI doesn't just learn the skills, it learns all our baggage too. It becomes a perfect reflection of all the hidden societal biases baked into that data.
And this right here just drives the point home. The researchers asked a large language model to suggest names for a CEO. The result? A staggering 85% of the names were male. The AI wasn't being malicious, it was just mirroring the patterns it saw in the data, because no one had given it that specific mathematical instruction from the dictionary telling it what fairness was supposed to mean in this context.
This all brings us to the bigger picture. This is so much more than just a technical problem for some company. It's about the need for all of us to forge an entirely new kind of social contract for this new age of algorithms.
And here's what that new social contract looks like. First, we have to accept that AI decisions are built on probability, not on 100% certainty. But second, and this is the vital part, we have to consciously and openly decide which principles, which of those definitions from our dictionary our AIs are going to follow. We, as a society, have to agree on the rulebook.
Because what's the alternative? The paper puts it bluntly. We let a handful of engineers make these profound policy decisions for the rest of us, and they do it hidden away inside a black box of code. Do we really want our societal values to be decided by a few developers without any public debate or agreement?
So, this is the final critical question we're left with. We've established that we have to translate our values into code by writing this algorithmic dictionary. The fundamental question then is, who gets to hold the pen?